What are these little black and white things that came with my dice? What's up, everybody? I am Nate. I'm the GM here at the Tabletop Empire, and today we are in chapter 1.3 where we will be talking about destiny points. Now, this is part of a full-length series that we'll be doing for the next 30 weeks, going through the entire rulebook, section by section, through every chapter to make the rules as easy to understand as possible. Once again, I must clarify, this is not a substitute for the rulebook. You still need to have a copy of your own. However, I'm here to kind of break it down and make it easy to digest. Now today, we're going to be talking about destiny points. What are they? How do they work? What are their use cases? Full explanation right here, right now. So let's jump on into it. So the core rulebook tells us that our player characters are intertwined with destiny. And as we know in Star Wars, the Force flows through everything, light and dark. In the same sense, the Force and destiny are tied together. And destiny can either hurt or help our players. Now, how they're used in the actual game, they're narrative spice that the GM or players can use to add a little bit of a flavor to the story of whatever session you're in. Now, the camera really doesn't want to focus on this. It wants to focus on my face, but we have the white side, which represents the light side of the Force, and we have the black side that represents the dark side of the Force. Now, at the beginning of every single session, the GM's going to prepare the destiny point pool by getting every player character to roll the white Force die. Now, for every light side Force point that is rolled, set down one light side destiny point, and likewise for dark side. Additionally, if any of the players are Jedi and they actually have passed the light side threshold, the party actually gets to start with one extra light side token. We're going to touch on all of that stuff in character creation next chapter. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Now, the amount of tokens in the game is not going to change for the rest of the session. There were only ever 5 circles rolled. There's only ever going to be 5 destiny points in that given session. And then next session, the GM will prepare the pool again by getting you guys to roll again, and it's beginning of every session, this happens. So earlier I mentioned spending, and how does that work exactly? Well, the GM gets to spend dark side points, and the players will get to spend light side points. Now, the GM will spend the dark side points to make the game a little bit more difficult for the players, and at that point, the dark side token will flip up to the light side. And oppositely, the player characters can spend the light side points to help themselves out, but then at that point, the light side token flips over to the dark side. And throughout the game, these tokens will flip back and forth from light to dark. It'll ebb and flow like the Force. There's balance through everything, and that's part of the mechanic of the game. So the first way it can be spent is called a helping hand, and that is when you can spend the destiny point to upgrade a dice roll. Remember last week we talked about upgrades? Well, that's when small dice become the bigger, better dice. So for player characters, this would look like upgrading one of your green die to a yellow die for whatever check you're going to do, and for the GMs, this would look like making a difficult roll that one of your enemies or NPCs are rolling that would upgrade from a purple to a red. The second thing you could spend a point on is raising the stakes, and that is when you make a enemy's roll more challenging. For the player characters, let's say there's an NPC, you can upgrade the difficulty of their check. But likewise, the GMs can also use this to upgrade the difficulty of your check. So let's say you have a hard check that's 3 purple dice. The GM can then use raising the stakes to make you go against 2 purple and a red. Now, the third thing that destiny points can be spent on is actually some of your abilities and talent trees and skills and stuff that you have from your career and specialization. Certain skills require you to spend the destiny point to be able to use the ability. And last but not least, you can spend a destiny point on luck and Deus Ex Machina. What is Deus Ex Machina? So you set the scene. The players land on this planet and they find out that there's no breathable atmosphere because a recent gas mining facility has leaked and the air is toxic. Your players forgot to bring gas masks. What did they do? Or did they? No, they totally remembered to bring gas masks. Flip over destiny point now. So that's one way your players can spend it, is spend your light side point to, oh yeah, you totally packed that med kit or those gas masks or rebreathers or whatever you kind of need in that moment. Maybe your party member is injured and you're looking for a med pack in a local area. Flip the light side destiny point, and yeah, you totally find what you're looking for in exactly the right spot you're looking for it. So you can kind of bend what's happened narratively or add a little bit of luck to what you're doing. Now, it's important to remember that this is a narrative tabletop RPG. It's all based around the story. Destiny points should be used to involve the players in the story and to move the story forward. This goes without saying, but the GM does get the final say on whether or not a Destiny point can be used in any given specific situation. One little note I'm going to throw in about the Destiny point system, and it's a problem that I've had with my players in past games, is you want to use these points. I've had players that did not want to spend their light side points because they didn't want me as the GM to make their life a little bit more difficult. And that's kind of an abuse on the system. The game encourages the ebb and flow, back and forth, light to dark side, mechanical storytelling. Like, the game is built around that, and to not spend your points or hoard all of the points for yourself, it takes away from the game. It works against the game's mechanical structure, and it works against the game setting. Yes, your GM may spend a Destiny point and it may make your life difficult, but you can also spend them after he does to make your game more easy. It really is a balance. Don't be afraid to use them. Now, are you really out of battery again? One of my lights just died. I'm not stopping on the last paragraph. I'm gonna power through this. Sorry if it messes up the green screen. There's not a whole lot of limits to this, but there are two. You're only allowed to use 1 Destiny point per individual skill check. So you can't spend 2 to upgrade 2 dice, you can't spend 1 and in the same roll make the opposed check that you're going against this NPC with, make his roll more difficult. You can't use it to upgrade your dice and then use an ability in the same check. An ability that requires a Destiny point. 1 token per individual action check that you're doing. This is actually something that I kind of learned while researching for this video. The GM and PC can actually both use a token on the same check. Maybe the GM flips over a dark side point and an extra small battalion of a couple stormtroopers shows up, and you're running low on ammo, but the players at that point could flip over a light side token and be like, we totally brought an extra grenade. Just take the credits out of my character sheet. However, remember that Destiny points should be used for some narrative reason, not just to counter what the other side is doing. So get creative, have fun with it. Remember that this is just a game, and Destiny points are honestly a really awesome, super fun addition to a tabletop RPG. Just, you gotta remember to actually use them. And that is it for today's video. We're done with chapter 1. That is all like the base mechanics of like what is the game, what's the dice, what are these token things. Next we're gonna get into a deep dive into character creation. So general overview of character creation, then we're gonna spend 4 videos actually doing a walkthrough step-by-step guide for how to make a character. So that way GMs, you don't have to sit down with every single one of your players and spend 4 hours trying to walk everybody through character creation. Show them the video, we'll walk them through it, and then later you can discuss and tweak as you want for your story and to make your players most happy. Cool. Well, if you guys found this video helpful, please hit like. It's free. It really helps me out. Drop a comment below for any questions you have. I answer every single comment. So go do that. Hit subscribe so that way you're notified for next week's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. And as always, may the Force be with you.